Zilla Fatu just walked into NXT and blew the roof off the building. And here's the thing, this was not some random signing announcement. This was a calculated, surgical strike timed down to the exact night, connected directly to what happened one night earlier on the biggest stage in the business. Something is brewing with the Bloodline. Something bigger than we've seen in months. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why WWE picked this week, this moment, to unleash Umaga's son on the world. So sit tight, because to understand why Zilla Fatu's debut hit like a freight train, we got to rewind 24 hours first, to Monday Night Raw. Because what went down there? That's the domino that started all of this. Let's talk about Raw. August 10th, Norfolk, Virginia, Scope Arena. And from the opening bell, this was Bloodline chaos on a level we haven't seen in a long time. Solo Sikoa walks out from the crowd. Jey Uso confronts him immediately, and right away, the tension in that arena is thick enough to cut with a knife. Jey doesn't waste time. He challenges his own brother to a match, and the stipulation is brutal. If Sikoa loses, he gets delivered straight to Roman Reigns. No more running, no more hiding. Straight back into the fold whether he likes it or not. And Sikoa, showing more fire and more personality than we've seen from him in years, doesn't back down. He accepts, but he adds his own condition. If he wins, the Bloodline leaves him alone. Forever. That's the stage that gets set. And backstage, things are just as messy. Jacob Fatu, who, remember, had already failed earlier in the night trying to physically force Sikoa back into the group, runs into Jey and Jimmy. And Fatu is not happy. He accuses Jey of running his own plays, going rogue, trying to fix the family his own way instead of letting the group handle it the Bloodline way. Jacob reminds everybody that he's still out there handling business too. Just ask Royce Keys, who's reportedly out with injuries after getting worked over by Fatu in recent weeks. So picture this. Multiple factions, all claiming to be family, all pulling in different directions. Jacob Fatu wants back in through force. Jey wants to drag Solo back in through pride and legacy. Sikoa just wants out completely. It's messy, it's personal, it's real. And then, the main event. 12 minutes of Jey Uso versus Solo Sikoa, with Sikoa's future hanging in the balance. Sikoa comes out swinging, channeling his father Rikishi, fighting like a man who genuinely does not want to go back. For a while, it looks like he might actually pull it off. But then Jimmy Uso crashes the party. Interference changes everything. Jey hits a spear, follows it with the Uso splash, and gets the pin. Sikoa loses. And now, he's set to be delivered, physically handed over to Roman Reigns the following week in Buffalo. That's the emotional gut punch WWE left us with heading out of Raw. A member of the Bloodline, cornered, about to be dragged back to the tribal chief against his will. The story is at a boiling point. The family is fracturing in public, in real time, on the #1 show in the company. Now, quick pause, because if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell right now. WrestleCore breaks down everything happening in the wrestling world before anyone else connects the dots. And trust me, you do not want to miss what we're about to get into. Okay, back to it. Because now here's where things get interesting. The very next night, not next month, not coming soon, the very next night on NXT, out of absolutely nowhere, Zilla Fatu shows up. Cruz Montana and Grayson Waller are in the main event, battling in a #1 contenders match for Tony D'Angelo's NXT Championship. Montana looks like he's about to seal the win, and then it happens. Fatu slides into the ring, Samoan drop on Montana, that he turns, levels Waller with a Superman punch, match is thrown out. The crowd is losing their minds, chanting his last name before most of them even fully process what they just saw. Then Fatu walks to the outside, right up to NXT champion Tony D'Angelo, who's been sitting at commentary the entire time. He doesn't scream. He doesn't need to. He just looks him dead in the eye and says 4 words, "There's a new sheriff in town." Now here's a detail that matters more than people realize. WWE let commentator Vic Joseph call him Zilla Fatu on air. Not a new ring name, not a rebrand. They kept his real deal, the name he built on the independent scene, the name tied directly to his family legacy. That's not an accident. That's a message. Because Zilla Fatu isn't just some random independent standout WWE plucked off the scene. He is the son of the late legendary Umaga. He is part of the Anoa'i family, the same bloodline, pun very much intended, that gave us Roman Reigns, the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu. The Samoan dynasty, as people are already calling it online, just added another soldier. And he arrived 24 hours after the bloodline imploded on national television. So, let's ask the obvious question.
Coincidence? According to backstage onlings and just basic pattern recognition, absolutely not. Here's reason number one this timing makes total sense. WWE is a storytelling machine, and right now the story is the Bloodline is breaking apart. Sikoa is being dragged back against his will. Jacob Fatu is desperate and failing to force his way back in through violence. The group looks weaker, more fractured, more vulnerable than it has in a long time. What's the oldest trick in wrestling booking? When a dominant faction looks like it's crumbling, you reinforce it. You bring in new blood. And what better reinforcement than an actual blood relative, a legitimate Anoa'i showing up with size, look, and lineage that instantly slots him into that world? Reason number two, Zilla Fatu didn't just show up and stand around. He attacked the top of the NXT card and immediately called out the champion. That's not the debut WWE gives to a guy they're planning to slow play for 6 months in the mid-card. That's the debut you give someone you're fast-tracking. If the creative team is genuinely building toward a bigger Bloodline expansion, positioning Fatu as an instant threat on NXT, going after the title in his literal first segment, sets him up for a call-up storyline that could collide directly with the Sikoa Reigns situation happening on the main roster right now.
Reason number three, and this is the one that should really get you buzzing. Think about the actual dynamics inside the Bloodline story. Sikoa doesn't want to be there. Jacob Fatu is trying to force his way back in and failing. The group needs someone hungry, someone new, someone whose loyalty hasn't been tested and broken yet. If the creative team pulls the trigger and eventually has Zilla Fatu cross over from NXT into this exact storyline, even down the line, it doesn't just refresh the group visually, it gives them a built-in narrative. While one member is being dragged back kicking and screaming, another one is running toward the family, ready and willing. That contrast, that's television gold. That's the kind of storytelling that makes the internet explode overnight. And let's not pretend the timing is subtle. Zilla Fatu wrapped up his run in House of Glory just days before this, dropping the Crown Jewel Championship to Amazing Red in what basically played out like a scripted farewell. Fans were told he was headed to bigger things. Commentary hinted at it. Then, almost instantly, word started spreading that he'd signed with WWE and was already at the Performance Center. That's not a slow indie call-up. That's a company clearing his schedule specifically so he could hit NXT television at the exact moment the Bloodline story on Raw needed a jolt of new energy the very next night. While WWE is keeping the specifics of the long-term plan under wraps, the signs all point the same direction. This wasn't a signing they had sitting on the shelf for a random Tuesday. This was timed, deliberately, to land one night after Sikoa's fate was sealed, to land one night after Jacob Fatu failed to force his way back into the fold, to land at the exact moment fans were emotionally invested in the Bloodline's instability. And if you zoom out even further, WWE Heatwave is coming up on August 30th, and there's already talk that Zilla Fatu's arrival forces NXT's hand into a bigger championship picture, possibly even a fatal four-way involving him, Delangelo, Montana, and Waller. So not only did this debut shake up the Bloodline conversation, it immediately altered the entire trajectory of the NXT championship picture too. One appearance, two major storylines completely rewritten. That's not luck. That's not a coincidence. That's a company connecting dots on purpose, letting the wrestling world do exactly what we're doing right now. Theorizing, speculating, and absolutely losing our minds trying to figure out what comes next. So here's where we're at. The Bloodline is cracking on Raw. A new Anoa'i just kicked the door down on NXT less than 24 hours later. And every signal, the kept name, the aggressive debut, the direct challenge to the champion, the timing itself, points to something much bigger being built behind the scenes. Before we wrap up, seriously, if this kind of deep dive, connect the dots wrestling content is your thing, do me a favor and hit subscribe. Tap that bell so you don't miss the next update the second this story develops further. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and I promise we'll keep bringing you the analysis nobody else is putting together. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Zilla Fatu is destined to become the next major piece of the Bloodline puzzle, or is WWE simply building him as his own independent star, completely separate from the family drama happening on Raw?
Drop your theory in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to know what you think happens next. Because whatever WWE has planned, one thing is certain. This is just the beginning. And WrestleCore will be right here, breaking it all down the moment the next piece falls into place.